Dr. Daniel Ennis, President of Delta State University. Good morning, Dr. Ennis. How are you, sir? It's good to have you.
Good morning. I'm so glad to be here. Doing great. Thank you.
How's the Delta doing? Everything okay there?
We're moving right along. We got the spring semester started. Had a little challenge with the ice and snow, but we're up to speed now. Classes are in session, and kids are doing great.
That's because you folks are so far north. That's what it is. It's nearer to Kankakee. Let me put it that way. I remember growing up there, we had at least 2 times a year in the Delta from Shaw. We had a little ice or even a little snow, but global warming hasn't changed that much. All right, a little bit about you. You are the institution's 9th president, and on Saturday, February 24th, it's official with the inauguration. Your thoughts?
Well, it's exciting. I've been on the job since June, but, universities, like other institutions, like to have sort of symbolic starts. So the inauguration is sort of the official swearing in of me as president. It's going to be a great day.
You came from South Carolina?
That's right.
You look at all of the when you're first to get that first phone call and they said, "Hey, look, we're really seriously considering you," and it's Delta State University, it's in Cleveland, Mississippi. A lot of things going through your mind, and the more you look into it, you say, "What could I do? What could I add?" Tell me about that process.
Well, it's pretty thorough. Went through multiple rounds of interviews, and the IHL uses a recruitment firm, so I talked a lot to the headhunter about the institution. But in these types of things, academic, we don't apply for 100 jobs. I mean, we might apply for 2 or 3. So that gave me some time to really go deep, and I went, into Delta State's history and its records, and of course, it's a public university, so you can find everything you need. You can find the budget numbers, you can find the enrollment numbers, you can find really what's going on at the institution. So I studied pretty hard, but the more I studied, the more I liked the university, and I was very excited to get that call.
Yeah. What did you see to build on there for the future, though?
Well, public regional universities like Delta State have a great niche in higher ed. I mean, we serve a population that needs college access, and we often serve in communities that don't have a lot of college access. Our programs tend to be more localized. What's the region need? And that really speaks to me. I really like working in higher ed where I know the students that come in here need the education and the outcome is very clear for them. Delta State in particular, I was just astounded by its mission and its record of helping people in this region, do better. And that's really rewarding in it for an educator to see a student raise their quality of life through higher ed.
Wouldn't you agree that some of the problems that we have at Delta State, which is just indigenous of just most of them, lower enrollment, there are more the academic problems that are experienced there are experienced in a lot of different places. How do you mount those objections and solve them?
Well, it is true. I mean, if you look at Delta State's enrollment and you look at Mississippi's population, particularly college-going population, of course, we pay particular attention to demographics. Growth in young people helps grow traditional higher ed, like 18 and 19-year-olds, for example. But what attracted me to Delta State was there was a lot of headroom in other areas. There's still growth in the graduate sector. There's still growth in transfer students. And one of the conversations we've been trying to have here is to stop thinking about recruitment as primarily about getting high school students to Delta State. It's going to be a much more comprehensive mix of people from different places in their lives, including mid and later career, who needed an additional credential. And that takes some doing because you have to re-engineer your programming, you have to re-engineer your courses, you have to re-engineer your recruitment and your marketing to get there. But schools that will survive this enrollment downturn of young people are the ones that are going to be nimble about attracting other people to higher ed.
I got to think that when it comes to, well, first of all, the aviation program that has garnered a lot of attention there has been one of the finest in the country.
Yes, it's a terrific program. And I tell you, I was sort of stunned when I was researching the institution to see, this wasn't just a small regional niche program, that there were people from all over the United States who wanted to come to Delta State. And the outcomes from that program are astounding. We have terrific alums all over the world. We're in Delta State green and their lapels, flying, for cargo, flying for aviation, flying for military, flying for commercial, and it's great for us.
Yeah. When you look at music, with the Grammys there, and Cleveland, Mississippi is such and I mentioned this, a diamond in the Delta. They certainly are. They shine brightly, just bucking the trend, and there are a lot of good things going on there. How do you enhance that? That it's almost like ground zero in Clarksdale. If you want to come to the number one place to be a jug joint or sing the blues, it's there. Number one place to study music has got to be Delta State, certainly blues and the history of music.
Yeah, I think we're in a remarkable position here because one of the things that this whole region is discovering is there's quite a bit of commercial activity around tourism, and tourism in the Delta is centered around food and music and history. So, we've of course hosted and participated in conferences to develop that tourism industry, and the Delta Music Institute's a great part of that because those tourists want to hear live music. They particularly want to hear live blues in a setting that they think is authentic, like a ground zero. And that requires professionals. You need audio engineers. You need recording folks. The folks that set up this kind of conversation, that's a skill set that can be taught. So what we're trying to promote is that, we're in the commercial music production, recording, engineering niche. So we do have great performers. Students come from all over to perform music here, but we want to lead the performers out with also, here's some production engineering skills that will help you with live sound, with radio and music, and of course these days social media audio production, and that's an area we think we can be really a leader in.
Yeah. On the 24th, on Saturday the 24th, give me a little idea what some of the festivities are going to be about. When do they start, and where will they be?
Well, so we've got a whole week of build up to the inauguration. We're going to have a history of Delta State lecture on Monday the 19th, and then Tuesday we're going to have some meals with our students, have a student luncheon celebration. I'm very excited that Friday, what we're going to do in anticipation inauguration is we're going to do a day of service down in Rolling Fork. So we're going to take a group of faculty, staff, and students down from campus to Rolling Fork, and they've still got a lot of work to do. And one of the things that we want to remind people of is, that community got a great deal of help and support in the initial weeks and months after that tragic tornado. And then, you get out of the headlines and the attention tails off. But that place is still rebuilding, and we just want to make sure that we're Delta State University. That's one of the Delta communities we care about. So we're going to take a group down there, and we've worked with some local folks to ask them what they need us to do. And then we'll build up to Saturday, which we'll have the ceremony at 10:30 a.m. in our beautiful Performing Arts Center, the BPAC. And there'll be some dignitaries speaking. I'll get sworn in, and we're trying to position this as the kickoff of our 100th anniversary because February 29th, 1924, the legislation to create Delta State was introduced. So we're going to kick off our week on February 9th, 2024, and that'll be 100 years since that first moment of Delta State being an imagination, part of someone's imagination.
What's the enrollment this year?
So we're still holding around 2,600. We had an uptick in fall and an increase in spring. So we've got 2 straight semesters now of modest growth. It's not revolutionary. We need to be, I think, around 3,000 to 3,500 is a sweet spot for our institution in terms of our infrastructure and our personnel. So we've got a journey ahead of us, but we're gonna work to get there.
Yeah. I got to believe also just the tuition itself is going to be one of the calling cards. I mean, if you can offer at a very, very good price in state and out of state, that's just one of the things you could do.
Right. And I tell you, that's a secret weapon that I thought when I was looking at the job before I took it, when I was interviewing and doing my research, I thought that was an underused asset here at Delta State is that we can pitch our in-state tuition to out-of-staters, and not many universities can. Many states have rules against that. Mississippi is free to recruit, not just in surrounding states like Arkansas and Tennessee, but we can recruit nationally with a very competitive price point, and we're doing a lot more to put that out there.
And I do believe that's front and center to a lot of seniors now coming out of high school when they hear all of these horror stories about student loans. So it's front and center in their minds now more than it was maybe 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, listen, congratulations. Anytime you need us, we are here. We thank you, and we look forward to your tenure, sir.
Well, I'm delighted. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.
You got it. Dr. Ennis, President